Oh, it's so peaceful.
I'm
It's
good.
so peaceful, but I will say there's a point where it's like, it's out of my control.
Yes.
There's literally nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
And when people say, but you can adopt. I don't want to adopt.
Yeah.
I want my own DNA in a little person.
Yes.
And that's the only one, selfish or not.
This is a great take from Jennifer Aniston. Like, people who don't want to adopt shouldn't adopt. But I also think it's extremely revealing about adopted people's actual life experiences. What Jennifer Aniston is saying here is that biology and genetics matter a lot to her. She wants to share a physical connection to her child. And as someone who grew up as an adopted person, I feel exactly the same way. I would have paid and still would pay a lot of money to have been able to grow up with genetic family. And I know there's this whole movement about blood doesn't make a family types of people out there, but the reality is for an adopted person, it can be extremely difficult not to grow up with genetic family. When you're a kid growing up and you look around at the people around you, your family, and you don't see yourself in anyone else, that can be really hard. You look at all of these parts of yourself and wonder where or who they came from. My hair color, my eye color, the way I laugh, the way I smile, all of these things come from someone and I don't know who they came from. And those feelings can get extremely complicated when I look over at the adoption industry, a multi-billion-dollar business, mind you, that is trying to convince people like Jennifer Aniston that adoption is just another tool for family building. Because when we hear people saying to just adopt to people like Jennifer Aniston, we know what they're saying. They're not saying adopt a child that already has a family. They're saying adopt an infant, and you can pretend that you're that child's biological mother because that's what adoption does. You get the child fresh out of the womb, your name goes on their birth certificate. Just ignore any physical differences you might have. We're giving you the gift of parenthood. This is what you want, right? When we see children being adopted this way, what we don't see is the $10,000 to $20,000 on average being spent to procure an adoptable child from a pregnant mother. The adoption agency charges $10,000 to $20,000 in marketing, the hopeful adopters hand over that money, and the agency funnels that money into hyper-aggressive advertising campaigns on Google and Facebook. It's like a science almost. It's all part of a very deliberate process. It's capitalism. You run hyper-aggressive ads targeting pregnant people and try to convince them that they aren't going to be good enough parents to their own children. You prey on their fears, their insecurities, their vulnerability. They start to believe they might not actually be able to do this, to parent their own child. And then you show them hyper-curated profiles from hopeful adopters who can promise your child the world. Of course, none of these people can actually promise your child anything that you can't promise your child because none of us know what the future holds. But adoption tends to make this look like a value proposition that can't be passed up. These people are going to be better for your child than you can be. And we ignore the loss, that physical connection the child will grow up without, the physical connection that Jennifer Aniston couldn't imagine parenting a child without. Because ultimately, it's not about the mother, it's not about the child, it's about making a transaction happen.